I'll be speaking about etiopathogenesis and the risk factors of ROP. My objectives will be to clear how it happens and what are the risk factors. If we see the normal in utero growth, then there are two important factors which are responsible for normal vascular growth in the retina. The first one is VEGF and second one is IGF-1. Now VEGF maintains and induces new vessels, while what IGF-1 does, it has a permissive role. That means it permits the VEGF to act. Now after birth, there are two phases which every premature baby undergoes. The first phase or phase 1, that is immediately after birth. The IGF is mainly provided to a premature baby by placenta and amniotic fluid. As the child is born, this IGF-1, because no more it is connected by placenta, it decreases. And there is relative hyperoxia, or if there is oxygen supplementation, then again VEGF will also be inhibited. Now because both these factors are decreasing, there is the vascular growth of the retina may stop. Now there is a phase 2. What is phase 2? What happens after some time is that after stoppage of this vascular growth, the anterior retina remains avascular and now it is trying to be mature. Now it requires vessels for its maturing. So it starts producing more and more VEGF. So the eye is sitting on gunpowder. It just requires a spark for ignition, and that spark is provided by IGF-1 because it has the permissive role. Now the VEGF, as I told you, depends on hypoxia, but IGF-1 depends on various systemic factors as well. From clinical point of view, if you see, because there is increased VEGF which is going to lead to more severe ROP, there is some role of using anti-VEGF agents as well. The laser photocoagulation also does the same thing, that is, it reduces the requirement of oxygen of the immature retina and reduces VEGF. So there are two ways in which this eye in phase 2 may behave. First, if VEGF decreases and normal vessels start growing in the retina, then the hypoxia decreases and there will be normal vascularization. But second phase, where VEGF is increasing and it is ignited further by systemic factors through IGF-1, then the child is going towards severe form of ROP. So just to again tell you, after birth, the first phase will be relative hyperoxia or excess of oxygen supplementation, which will lead to stoppage of vascular growth, and phase 2, where is hypoxia of the immature retina anteriorly and leading to neovascularization. So from the factors that we have seen, the major risk factors are prematurity, because the placenta is no more there, so IGF-1 production is decreased. Hyperoxia, which is mainly because of decrease in the VEGF in initial phase, and sickness, which is important because it modulates the IGF-1. So when we see the data, we can see most of the babies having ROP are below 28 weeks of age, but still there are few babies above that. If we see the gestation specific data, Dr. Suchita have already discussed that in India and developing nations, the average gestational age having ROP is more. Similarly, birth weight also is average birth weight is more in developing nations, and this may also be because of systemic risk factors which may be more commonly involved. As far as hyperoxia is concerned, there are three periods in history as partly discussed. First period was when there was unbridled use of oxygen. Oxygen was not treated as a medicine. So in this phase, there were high rates of ROP because, as I said, hyperoxia immediately inhibits VEGF. In the phase period 2, when they realized that oxygen is the main cause for developing severe ROP, they suddenly restricted the use of oxygen. Now that led to low rates of ROP, but again that decreased the survival of babies. In the period 3, where we are right now, there is more controlled use of oxygen. It is decreasing the incidence of ROP, but as she rightly discussed, that improved neonatal care, there is more survival of more number of babies, and again as far as the number of ROP babies are concerned, that is increasing. Now, as far as oxygen saturation is concerned, there are quite a few studies about it. The major studies indicate that whenever the oxygen supplementation is given at higher saturation to these babies, there is higher risk of ROP. The landmark study is support study, which clearly indicates that if lower percentage of oxygen supplementation is given, the risk of ROP is significantly decreased. But there is some flip side to it, that is, if you give too low percentage of oxygen, then there is also some increase in the death rate of these babies. So further studies are required in this part. This I got from AIIMS Pediatric Department. What they have done, they use the midline criteria, that is, they use 90 to 93% range for the oxygen saturation. Now, are there any other risk factors? I already told you there are systemic risk factors which are modulating the other, like IGF-1. Now, this study by Yanovich studied these risk factors, and they found that if there were two or more risk factors like septicemia, ventilation more than 4 days, antibiotic use more than 14 days, RBC transfusion more than 7 units, and central line indicates that there is higher risk of ROP in these babies. So basically, a sick baby in any form, like fluctuating oxygen saturation, prolonged oxygen therapy, ventilation, anemia, these all things indicate that there is systemic problem in the baby. So sickness is a risk factor, and Dr. Azad has already studied that this third criteria of the screening is very important, particularly in developing nations. There are certain anecdotal reports which suggest that breastfeeding and antenatal steroids in these premature in mothers may be a protective factor against ROP. Certain maternal factors have been implicated, such as heavy smoking during pregnancy, gestational diabetes, and preeclampsia. Basically, it also leads to higher rates of premature babies. What has been studied is that previously it was thought that light exposure may be one of the risk factors for ROP, though it is little controversial, but mostly it has been accepted that light exposure is not directly related to ROP risk. So, as a carry-home message, the three important risk factors, prematurity, low birth weight, and hyperoxia, are three major risk factors. Sickness is very important risk factors, particularly in developing nations, because ROP may occur in bigger babies. Presence of NICU policy in oxygen management is necessary, and still it is not universal in all our NICUs, so that has to be should be implemented in all over India. Thank you very much. More details about this prematurity and low birth weight will be catered in screening protocols. Thank you very much.